Miss Santos, you are here today because you say the love of your life and the father of your child, Raymond Colon, was fatally shot just 6 months ago. You are petitioning the court for a paternity test to prove to his mother that he was and is the father of your 4-year-old son, Julius. Ms. Colon, you have the court's deepest sympathy for the loss of your son. In your statement, you argue that your son, Raymond, is not Ms. Santos's child's father because you know she was also sleeping with another man during the time her son was conceived. Furthermore, you say you believe the only reason Ms. Santos is claiming that your son is the father is because she wants to collect his Social Security and life insurance benefits. All right, Ms. Santos, please tell us, how did this begin, this relationship with Mr. Colon?
The thing was, it was such a secret because me and Raymond grew up together from Pampers.
Like cousins.
Like cousins. That's why it was such a secret. We don't have blood in our system. We don't have the same blood running through our systems.
No, you don't have the
but
same blood.
But we did grew up together. That's why it was such a secret. That's why I kept this pregnancy such a secret. He bring it out.
Why did you keep it such a secret?
Because we grew up together.
You should not slept with him, period.
So you grew up together, meaning you all were in the same family, grew up together?
Yeah, like barbecues, parties, gatherings.
Family stuff.
You were cousins?
No.
Not blood
cousins. We were
raised
as like cousins.
You were related through marriage, but not biologically related.
Definitely. Exactly.
You would consider him family if you were out on the street, and that's why, Ms. Colon, this was
very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. You know, if he wanted to be with you, you should have told him, no, we're family.
I did, but he was so, no, he was so persistent on trying to be with me that I gave in.
So, Ms. Santos, tell us how you ended up with Mr. Colon.
Okay, I was friends with another man. We had relations and everything. It was Raymond's 20th birthday. She threw a bash for him. We were out eating good, music good, drinking good. So I was, feeling it. I was in my little vibe. He came up to me and smashed a cupcake in my face. That's how we always play.
When we do a party, if the birthday boy gets lunch a birthday cake.
Okay.
That's normal.
Family tradition.
Family tradition.
So then what happens?
So he threw a cupcake in my face and he was like, come on, let's go clean it off. So he took me to his bathroom and he kissed me.
Okay. You should have respected
and
that.
I did at first, but I pushed him back, but I was feeling good. We was feeling good. Like,
so you just
we're not blood. We're not blood.
The bottom line,
that was my whole thing. We're not blood.
But in the end, you did give in and you slept with him.
I did.
Okay.
I slept
Was it a one-time thing or were you having a relationship?
No, it was one morning. It happened a couple of times that morning.
But you were in a relationship with somebody else.
Yes, I was. And Raymond knew that.
And sexually active with that person as well as Mr. Colon.
Well, that's my case.
And this was around the time of conception.
Yes. I told Raymond that I was pregnant or whatever because me and Raymond was really close. He told me, is it mine or whatever? And I just looked at him. I was like, no, it can't be because I'm always with the other man. So we just left it alone right there. He never told me any kind of feelings.
When you told him you were pregnant, his immediate response was, could it be mine?
Exactly.
But you thought to yourself...
I was in denial, completely in denial.
No, it's not yours. I've been with this other guy all this time. It couldn't be yours. We only were together that one morning.
Exactly.
So when did you become convinced that Julius, your son, was Mr. Colon's?
I had my son in Florida. When he was about a year old, I came back to Chicago hoping that the other man would want a relationship with my son so my son could have a father. The other man didn't have no feelings towards my son whatsoever, and he kicked us out. Raymond personally told me, he said, well, I heard that the other man kicked you out, and I don't want you in the streets with Julius. And he said that he wanted to get an apartment. He didn't want me out into the street. All I have to worry about is cooking and cleaning for him, and he'll take care of the bills. That's all I knew. That's all he told me. So I looked for the apartment, and we moved in together.
You skipped a part.
Which was?
What part did she skip, Ms. Colon?
The before the baby daddy, before the guy that fathered the child, apparently.
Okay, her boyfriend at the time.
Her boyfriend at the time. Then she was alone for a little while. She hooked up with another man that she was living with, that Raymond was his friend. So Raymond would come out of work, come home, take a bath, eat something, and go to their house to play little video games. True or false?
It's true.
Okay, so you were with someone else before you were Raymond.
Okay, but that
So
has
Raymond
nothing
was
to
your
do
third
with
man.
this. Whether he's my third, first, fifth, 18th.
Raymond is not the father of this baby. I'm sorry. No.
And Miss Cologne, why are you so convinced? What is your doubt?
She was living with someone else before, during, and after of the pregnancy. And the baby don't look nothing like us. The baby does not have the Cologne nose. That's not, that's not our
regardless
family.
of the fact whether
You don't
that's
see
his son,
any resemblance
No,
to
I
your
don't.
son?
No.
if that's not his blood or not, she raised, I'm not going to sit here and fight with her, she raised a good man. He died loving my son.
He died
And
loving
he was raising my
everybody.
son.
He loved everybody.
My son loved baseball, dominoes, strawberry milk, everything and anything because of that man.
He didn't want to be the baby daddy. If he wanted the baby daddy, he would have told me.
He told me that he gotten me pregnant that morning that we had relations on purpose.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Miss Santos, I have to ask you this. Based upon the time you were intimate with the boyfriend and with Mr. Cologne, there is a chance he could be the father.
There is.
Or the other man.
A 10%
Exactly.
chance that Raymond could be the father. 10% chance.
Yeah, because we already had sex 10%.
Miss Cologne, I have to ask you, are you denying the fact that your son could potentially be Julius's father
know what?
because you're upset because they really crossed what you felt like was
No.
a familial
That too.
boundary?
My son, if he thought, by any slim chance, if he would have thought that Julius is my son, let me go talk to my mom and dad and see if they'll help me pay a DNA test if I could be positive that it is my son. For when they took their trip to Florida last year, he could have gone to City Hall and signed his name on the birth certificate. If Raymond thought that it was his son, that it was definitely his son, he would have talked to us and told us.
He never came to you and said, Mom, I really think
that's-
Julius is my son.
No, he didn't.
I'm
And
sorry.
We had a lot of confidence in each other. He told me everything. When he moved out of my house on Mother's Day of all days, okay, knowing that holidays are so special to me, on Mother's Day of all days, I come from church, his room is empty. Well, he went to live with his friend. He didn't say he went to live with Sarah. Then I find out he's with her.
You come home from church on Mother's Day, you expecting to have some brunch and you don't have to cook it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Okay, that's what you're expecting on Mother's Day. You're not expecting to come home and your child
an empty
has
room.
moved out of the house. And
And
then
I
when you
told
ask
him-
where he went, they say he went to live with a friend. You think it's a friend, a guy friend. They're getting a roommate.
Yeah.
Do you think he believed that Juju was his and that's why he
was
moved
playing
in
baby daddy.
with Miss Santos, but just was scared to tell you because
No.
he knew he'd crossed that familial bound?
No, he was playing baby daddy.
He was not playing baby
he was a
daddy
good,
because we first
responsible
moved in
man.
together as
I
a
raised
roommate.
a good, responsible man. He put a roof over her head. Apparently, they were just roommates in the beginning, and then the relationship started. When I was told that they were living together, I said, no. They're cousins. They cannot live together.
All right, Miss Santos, you have a witness. Please stand, ma'am. State your name for the court.
My name's Rosalina Cologne.
Miss Cologne, thank you for coming today. Now, you are
Raymond Cologne's sister, older, only sister.
Mr. Cologne's sister
Yes.
and Miss Cologne's daughter.
Daughter. I'm here on this side because my brother will be here saying that that's his son.
You believe Juju is your brother's
Yes.
son.
I believe that's my nephew.
You believe it's your nephew.
Yes.
Why is it you believe it?
He told me that he had got Sarah pregnant. And I was like, what, are you serious? And so I went and I confronted her. You know, I heard that baby might be my brother's. And she started laughing. She was like, well, there's a chance that it could be, but you know my situation. Me and her hang out all the time. As you know, we grew up as cousins.
Yes.
So me and her are like always together. You know, I'm not going against what my mom says, anything because we did grow up as cousins, but my brother and her did have relations.
Why do you think your mom is so in denial over the fact that your brother may potentially be Juju's father?
She doesn't believe that my brother would do something like that behind her back.
Do you understand her doubt?
Yes.
As
yes.
her daughter, you understand her doubt.
Yes.
You just don't have the same doubt.
Yes, true. I'm not going against with whatever my mom says because my mom is totally right. Whatever she says, she's right. You know what I'm saying? But
Now
she's
that's
right.
a good
my
daughter,
mom.
isn't it, Miss Cologne? She knows who cooks for her.
Okay?
That's my mom.
You know what side your bread is buttered on, right?
Exactly. That's my mom. But I'm here because my brother told me from the beginning that's his baby. You know what I'm saying? And
There was a lot of
he took
confidence
care of
between
him.
them.
Juju, still to this day, he asks for Papi. And who's Papi? My brother.
Miss Cologne, you feel like Miss Santos is alleging that your son is her child's father for financial reasons.
Definitely, yes.
Explain.
Okay. In Chicago, well, I don't know if in Illinois, but when a person works for so many time, for so long, okay, and has a spouse or a child, okay, the child will get Social Security benefits.
Yes.
So,
It's not about money. at
because
all.
her child is growing up, his clothes are not fitting him anymore, his shoes don't fit him anymore, so she needs some financial support.
Not
So
true
she's going for Social
whatsoever.
Security.
Honestly, I do not care about no money. I care about whether my son is his or not so he can live on his legacy. My son loved that man and that man loved my son. And I just want to know so I could put my son as a Cologne.
I have to ask you, you know, in this courtroom, I've sat here and I've seen countless grandparents come, even in the unfortunate circumstance where their son is deceased, and many times they're hoping that the child is their son so that they can have that living legacy, as you talk about, of their child.
Yeah, but not
and
like
yet
this,
here,
not with these doubts, with these
and yet
games.
here, is it just the doubt, or are you hoping today that in fact this is your son's child?
I'm hoping the fact that it is my son, my grandchild. You know what? If he's my grandson, okay, big fat if, he will have the same privileges that my other two granddaughters have.
Do you have
And
a
I'll take it to him.
relationship with him right now? Do you
No.
have no
because
relationship?
I left Chicago.
She
I
doesn't
sold
live in Chicago
everything.
anymore.
I sold my little car. I got rid of everything and I left.
Raymond was buried, and his
Yes, ma'am.
tombstone reads, son, brother, uncle,
and dad.
dad.
Dad. And why does it say dad? Because Raymond was playing baby daddy.
You acknowledge that he was a daddy to this child.
Yes.
You just
No,
are
daddy.
not
Games that he was
convinced there is
playing
a
in, there was no
biological
love,
connection there.
I need proof, real proof. If he is, then we will help the child. And if it's not, so please leave us alone. Just leave us alone. That's all. If the baby is not Raymond's, leave us alone.
Will
That's
do.
all I want. You know, clean your hands with us and forget about us. Okay? Let me grieve the way I should grieve. She didn't lose her son. I did. Okay, it was my baby that I lost. I want to grieve my baby. I just lost him 6 months ago. Let me grieve him. You know.
How do you think I feel that my son, all he asks for is for Raymond? We talked about marriage. We had our wedding colors planned out, everything.
I didn't know nothing about that. He never told me anything.
There wasn't a lot of stuff he didn't tell
Those
you.
are things that I found out right after he died.
You're his mother.
Because we never
I was
talked
his
about.
best friend, his lover.
What I'm trying to make you understand, Miss Santos, is just that Miss Cologne, his mother, didn't know much of what you knew. She
Exactly.
wasn't there. So not only is she having to deal with the loss of her son, she's also dealing with the allegation that your son is his son, that you all have a child together, and then on top of that, that he obviously planned a life or had plans to marry you, maybe. All of these things are new to her, and it's just been 6 months, so you have to understand her level of resistance is strong because there's so much happening at once. Now, this court is about finding a way to move forward. Because ultimately, there is a beautiful young boy that, regardless of what the biology says, he thought this man was his daddy. And we say in this courtroom all the time, it takes biology to make a father, and it takes love to make a daddy. So unfortunate. It's time for the results. Jerome, I would like to offer, if there's anyone that'd like to take a seat, I know these results will, I'm sure, be emotional either way. If you'd like to sit down, please feel free at this time. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics. In the case of Santos versus Cologne, in the case of Santos versus Cologne, when it comes to the paternity of 4-year-old Julius Juju Santos, it has been determined that Mr. Raymond Cologne is not father.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
I know this was not the news you wanted to hear today.
I'm just grateful that my son was raised with a great man.
And now it's time to honor his memory. And Ms. Cologne, after you do have a chance to just grieve the loss of your son, because you deserve that and you need that, I'm hoping that you will consider at least welcoming her back into your heart, because ultimately this was a child that was truly blessed and affected in a positive way because of your baby.
Yes. If one day she comes back to Chicago and is close to us and comes to visit or something, and I could teach the child, you know, a little bit of manners, more than what my son did, I can't do.
That's what family is about. There is a biological connection to family, and then there is a love connection. Mrs. Watts, you are here on behalf of your deceased son, Alex, who was tragically murdered just a few months ago. I'm very sorry for your loss. You stand here on his behalf because you doubt he fathered the defendant's 20-month-old son, Caden, and you have asked for a DNA test to determine the truth. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Sherrill, you say that you are 100% sure that Mrs. Watts' son, Alex, fathered your baby, Caden, and you are here to prove it.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Watts, describe to the court how difficult this situation has been for you.
It's been very difficult over the last 6 months. I was received a phone call to come to a shooting where they said that my son was involved. When I got there, I didn't know at the time that my other son was there as well. My two sons went to visit a friend who had some type of altercation with some gentlemen prior to my sons coming to visit their home. And when my two sons got there, they were ambushed and murdered.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
When I got to the scene, my older son, Louis, he was still at the scene. He died on the scene. He was covered with a sheet. I was told that my son, Alex, had been taken to the hospital in critical condition. When I got to the hospital to see Alex, he had passed. He had died on arrival.
Oh, dear God.
Only thing I could do is, grab my son and hold him to my heart. And so this has been very difficult for me.
I am so very sorry. And now, in addition to that absolute unbearable tragedy, we have a paternity situation.
Yes.
Where you have now had to live with the doubt as to whether or not this beautiful little boy Caden is in fact your grandchild.
Yes.
Ms. Sherrill,
Yes, Your Honor.
can you tell the court the nature of your relationship with Mr. Stewart, Alex?
We were in love. Every time you seen Alex, you seen me, you seen him. We were always together. We planned on having a family together, having that future together, but fortunately it was cut short.
How
Here
long were you in the relationship?
3 years on and off.
Okay. And so Caden is 19 months old?
Yes. Yes.
And so he did get to know his father,
Yes.
the man you say is his biological father, before he passed away.
Yes.
And what was their relationship like?
The relationship was like a father and son bond relationship. They were like two peas in a pod. Alex loved Caden to death.
Miss Sherrill, you submitted a video of Caden and Alex, which you say shows the nature of their relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you submitted that to the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, just like you don't hear what I'm saying. You mad at me now? You wanna annoy me? I don't care.
Oh. So in your mind, as you see that, it's your feeling that he accepted this child as his own.
Yes, Your Honor. He did accept Caden as his own. To him, Caden was his child. Blood test or not, Caden was his.
Does that mean that there is a possibility that Caden is not Alex's biological child because you said blood test or not?
No, I'm saying that because, you know, everybody has said their words and everybody feels some type of way about when it comes to Caden being Alex's child. I say blood test or not because to Alex, he didn't care to get a blood test. To him, Caden was his child.
Well, the issue was my son had went away for some time, and before he went away, he told me that Alexis was pregnant. And I guess this was during the time that they were on their breakup. He was involved with someone else. And then when she had Caden, I said, "Is Caden Alex's?" And she said that she didn't know she needed a DNA test. She sent it to me in a text message.
Do you have that text message?
I do.
Jerome, would you grab that evidence for me, please?
Thank you.
This is a text message between you and Ms. Sherrill.
Yes.
And you ask, question, are you pregnant by Alex? And Ms. Sherrill responds, I don't really know, I don't believe so, but at this moment, I don't know, I have to get a blood test.
That was my response because I told Alex I did have a one-night stand with somebody and cheated on him. I told him in the beginning. I want to say a week or two after I had the one-night stand, I took an at-home pregnancy test and I found out I was pregnant. I know it takes a little longer for the at-home pregnancy test to detect the pregnancy, so I did say I didn't know because I know what I did and Alex knows what I did, but I also do believe he is because I know what happened and I know at the time when it happened.
So regardless of what Alex believed, wanted, desired, there is in fact real reason to have doubt because you admitted to that.
Right.
Lauren Lake here giving you 5 seconds to subscribe and click on the notification bell. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alex did want to keep the whole pregnancy a secret. He did not want nobody to know about the pregnancy.
Why is that?
Alex was a secretive person. He did not like people in his business. And at the same time, I didn't tell my family I was pregnant either. So we both decided to keep this a secret.
He was a private person.
And so you can see how your son may have said, let's keep this to ourselves?
He was private about other people being in his business. I know him and I had a good relationship, and he talked with his stepdad a lot. After she had the baby, Alex and her had gotten back together. The baby was like 2 months old. He came to the house a few times with her and the baby, but he never said, this is my child. But he cared for the baby as if it was his.
Does he have other children that he claimed?
He has
outwardly that this is my child?
Yes, he has a daughter. I was there when his daughter was born.
Were you there when Caden was born?
No.
Why?
I didn't tell nobody when I was in labor with Kaden, Your Honor.
And so Alex wasn't there either?
No.
No, yeah, and Alex didn't see the baby for 2 months.
So what's interesting is in the court papers, I see Caden's birth certificate. On the birth certificate, there is no father's name listed. Caden's last name is not your last name, and it's not Mr. Stewart's last name.
No, Your Honor. I gave him a friend of mine's last name only because I have a female's last name. I didn't want to give him a female's last name. And when the time came for me and Alex to get a blood test, I told him we can go down to the court, we can pay, and we can get his last name changed, no problem.
Why not give him Alex's last name if you knew without a shadow of the doubt that he really was the father?
I may have had a little doubt in my mind. I just didn't want to make a mistake.
I'd like to hear from your witness. Sir, would you please stand at the podium? State your name for the record.
Gregory Watts.
Mr. Watts, you are Mrs. Watts' husband, am I correct?
Yes.
And so you would be Alex's stepfather.
Yes.
In her testimony, she talked about the fact that you had a relationship, a very good relationship with Alex.
Yeah, we always hung out and did stuff together, you know. And he never talked about no babies or nothing. It was always, it was like, all this is new to me this year.
Oh, wait,
Excuse me, but he's never even met me before. Like, we've never even met face to face for him to be able to have a say so on this.
I'm talking about what Alex said. He never said nothing about no baby. If somebody got a child, they gonna say, well, this is my baby. Here, mama, look at my baby.
So when you all would have your father-son time, when you would talk, he never mentioned I have a baby on the way?
No, none of that. I just started seeing pictures like this. I'm like, well, he got a baby? And I'm like, wow, when did this happen?
And so you say he has another daughter, Alex has another daughter?
Yes.
When that child was born, or was he definitive in saying that this is my child?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because we keep our granddaughter, you know,
But Alex also got a blood test with his daughter also. They did get a blood test with her too.
And it was determined that he was the biological father.
Exactly. So of course he's gonna claim her because he got the blood test to know exactly sure.
But you said that his position was blood test or no blood test.
Alex didn't want his family or my family to know nothing about this.
But why is the point?
Alex is a secretive person.
But he wasn't secretive about the first child.
I couldn't really tell you his thoughts as to why. I know as on my part, I kept it a secret because I was a single mother of 2 other daughters at the time. I stayed with my mama. I know my mama was gonna be disappointed. She didn't want me having no more kids and I still stay in her house and I'm not stable enough to be out on my own and take care of my own kids, you know?
Exactly.
So it was like a secret. I think because I kept it a secret from my family, he just was like, all right, we're just gonna keep it a secret from everybody. Let's not let nobody know.
But how long can it be a secret? Because now Caden is here.
Well, after Caden got here, everybody seen Caden.
So when she was pregnant, he never brought her around?
Actually, Alex had left. He was gone for like 7 months.
Okay.
And I think she may have been a little angry with him because he had moved on with someone else.
Okay. So, Ms. Sherrill, since the time of Alex's passing, have you brought Caden around to Mr. and Ms. Watts' home?
No, I have not took him over there.
And why is that? He's almost 2 years old.
It's not really like a real reason why. I just don't have transportation to go back and forth from the east side all the way to the west side. I don't have a car, so it's hard to get a ride to go back and forth. I feel like if she did want to see Caden, she has a car. You know, she could have came and drove to visit Caden and see him.
Ms. Watts, why is it that he never went to pick her up or spent time with Caden?
Because, you know, for the past 6 months, we have been going through so much.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to open that door and get attached to the baby and then find out that he may not be his, and then it'd be like I'm losing my son all over again.
Yeah. So the court was able to obtain a photo of Caden and Mr. Stewart. This is a side-by-side photo.
you can see, like, their face is exactly the same, the way his face is shaped, them teeth, that box forehead, them eyeballs, that nose. It's like the whole thing, that's Alex all over again.
And so he felt like he saw himself.
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
When you look at that picture, Ms. Watts, how do you feel?
I don't want to get any attachment if it's not my son's child.
Yes.
I think he's a beautiful little boy. And I just want to be sure. I don't know.
I would love to prove to everybody that Alex is the father of my son, and so Caden can have his father's side of the family in his life, Alex's brothers, to give him that manly figure that he can't get from Alex no more. You know, I would love for that.
I think it's time we get the results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. Because there wasn't a blood card available to test the DNA of the deceased, Alex Stewart, we performed a DNA test with his surviving parent, Lita Watts. With that being said, the results determine if there is a viable relationship between the child, Caden, and Lita Watts. Do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Watts versus Sherrill, when it comes to 20-month-old Caden, it has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Lita Watts and Caden is 0.006%. You are not related. Alexis, I have to ask you, do you know where Caden's biological father is?
No, I haven't talked to that guy since I got back with Alex.
I know this was not the news you wanted, but I do believe you knew somewhere deep down inside that this was a very real possibility.
It's just that relationship Alex had with Caden, it was like Alex knew Caden was his son. Alex took that picture himself, laying on the bed like, come on, Caden, let's say cheese. Like, to Alex, this was his son.
And Caden does have the right to know his biological father as well. And even though you will always have those memories, you can tell him growing up that there was an amazing man who loved him and cherished him and treated him just like he was his own. But you have to also do the work necessary to make sure he has the opportunity to know his biological father. And do this sooner rather than later. He's just 20 months old now, 19 months old now. This is good. He can be in a position, if you do the right thing, where this can be behind him before he has the opportunity to know any of this happened, right?
Yes, Your Honor.